North Cumming Street. Maybe we shouldn't, since I didn't hear. Please stand for the invocation of the pledge. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, guide us today as we discuss the affairs of the citizens of Cheboygan County. Help us to make wise decisions on their behalf for the good of all. This we pray in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, with its soul, liberty, and justice for all. Command the picture. Thank you. We have an addition to the agenda, ladies and gentlemen. On town under 9D, we're going to add the dog park fence installation. Should be on your desk. 9D, dog park. There's no addition. How about a motion to approve?
There's no other additions, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion with 9D.
Thank you, Rick. Or any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Euclid,
Yes.
Commissioner Claremont,
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sainsbury.
Yes.
6-0 and 1 excused. Citizens comment. You would like to address the board, approach the podium, state your name, you have 3 minutes.
I'm good.
Let the record show that Lewis Valance is good. Hearing none, we're down to scheduled bidders department reports. Recycling annual report. We all know this guy.
Good morning. I'm Dan O'Henley. I'm the recycling coordinator for Cheboygan County and also the Cheboygan County Fairground manager. I'm here this morning to talk about the recycling report. There you go. I'm having a little ear problem, so if you would speak up, yes, but I appreciate it still. So the 2024 annual report is on the screen. And I'll start out with total cost back in 21 to 22 were $157,112. Total cost June 22 to June 23 was $148,000, and in June 23 to 24 was $142,000. The total cost per tons is the next category to the right. 2022 to 2023, we had 614 tons. 2023 to 2024, we had 609 tons. And if we jump over to where the blue arrow is, that tells you our fuel per ton and cost. So in 2022 to 2023, our fuel cost was $27,912, which is $45.46 a ton. And June of 23 to 2024, our fuel cost was $21,919, with a cost of $35.99 per ton. Sorry about that, but I didn't talk about the trips. Our total trips in 2023 was 618, and 2023 to 2024 was 627 trips. We're pretty much not doing chemicals in the past few years because of state restrictions and so on and so forth, and housing. But we're still doing electronics, which is the last category on the top there to the right. And you can see that electronics is really down. We're taking in TVs and computers. And in 2022 to 2023, we took in a little over 5 tons at a cost of $2,247. The cost went up last year, 2023 to 2024, it cost us $4,036 and 9.6 tons. The next category down, is our residential permits that we sell. That's pretty much stayed the same from June 2021 to June 22 with 33 commercial with 80 residential. 2022, 2023, we sold 30 commercial permits and 71 residential permits. And 2023 to 2024, we sold 36 commercial permits and sold 61 residential permits. And what that means, the residential is the townships that's not opted into the recycling program. And I should have on here, and I didn't, but our opted in townships bring in about $280,000 a year. So we'll have that on the next report. Thank you, Buffy, for helping me with that. I should have had that in there and I didn't. In September of last September 20th and 21st, we did a scrap tire recycling collection at the fairgrounds, hosted by NEMCOG and Eagle. The event was publicized in the Cheboygan website, the Cheboygan Daily Tribune, Black Diamond Broadcasting. We took in 2 semi-load trailer loads of scrap tires, and they were processed through the Environmental Rubber Recycling Company out of Flint. The next page is our total tons processed in 2022 to 2023. Our mixed containers was 244 tons. Our fiber, cardboard, which is office paper, magazines, your slickers, all of that, we had 370 tons and 5.3 tons of electronics. 2023 to 2024, we processed 215 tons of mixed containers. Mixed fiber, cardboard, 393 tons with 9.6 tons of electronics. And next page shows our total cost of 2022 to 2023. Our mixed containers cost is $54,846. Our mixed fiber cardboard is $63,577. Our fuel cost is $27,912, with electronics costing $2,247. Our total cost for 2023, 2024 was $142,818, with mixed containers cost of $49,410, fiber cardboard $67,452, fuel $21,920, and electronics for $4,037. Any questions on that?
Are we still on the plus side of the ledger?
Barely.
That's
We really-
it's supposed to be a one.
I know, we really need to look at, and Jeff would talk more about this than I am sure, but we really need to look at raising the cost. That $24 permit rate, it's good. People are, we're getting abused pretty heavy. So what that does is it puts half, I'll use 25% is things that don't belong. So that adds up to our trucking and stuff, because we're hauling 25% of the stuff in there doesn't belong in there. So people have realized that they can just put whatever they want in there, and they're paying $24 a year. So that we need to really look hard at that. Any other questions on that?
That surcharge has never been raised, has it?
No, sir. Nope. We started building the program in 2007, enacted it in 2008, and it's been the same ever since. You know. So we do have commercial people involved, but we have more people using it, more commercial people using it that's not paying that are paying.
Using it for garbage.
Yeah, it is the information, what do you get for Do you get any money?
We don't, we get a, we get, rebate. I think it's about $1,200 a month, but right now we're paying about $9 a yard to get rid of process over there, not counting labor, trucking and all that. And I can get you the exact.
So you don't get much.
No, we don't, it doesn't even begin to pay for the program. I wanna say rebates are around $1,000 a month and our bill is running about 9,000 a month.
Yeah,
So,
totally public service.
absolutely,
Try to help you better.
yeah, yep.
But just like even like a regional ride though, but Dan, we deliver pretty good there. The efficiencies are right on.
Oh, yeah.
What they-
Yeah, we have,
those crews
we have a
done.
part-time driver, we have myself, and we have a part-time secretary, Rose Reinerson, that does recycling and the fairgrounds, not the fairground. So we have a pretty slim
Yeah.
No,
team.
well, like I said, I just wanted to commend Dan on that because even like a regional, we do, like you said, these are services that we offer and we must continue, but we do operate it as well as, I believe, personally, I believe that you can as a public entity, being around.
Yeah, if there was a profit base, you'd have a private.
For sure.
And
Yeah. We have 4 main sites. We have Cheboygan, Indian River, and Aloha. Those sites are 24 hours. In Cheboygan and Indian River, we have 4 30-yard containers and 2 40-yard containers, a total of 200 yards of product we can store at one time before trucking. Indian River is the exact same, 4 30-yarders, 2 40-yarders. Again, we can we can control 200 yards of product off the ground. Aloha has 24 hours. They have 3 containers there, and Waverly has 2 containers. Water chocolate has containers. Westburt and Eastburt each have 2 containers at their transfer station that's got special hours only when people do their household garbage and stuff.
You got any trail cams up, then?
Pardon?
Got any trail cams up?
You know, I try to, but that causes so much work. And if you call law enforcement, they got so much stuff going on, and it's kind of embarrassing to call them and say something, you know. I know we have to do that, but problem is going to be policing it then. And what's going to happen to somebody for dropping a mattress off there? Are they going to get a ticket for littering? Yes. It costs us way more than that to go get it. I mean, right now I have my personal dump trailer. It's got 2 couches on it and some lawn chairs and some other stuff from over the weekend. So, and if you don't pick it up fast, they think that's a
dumping zone.
Yeah. So it's literally, you know, I go on Sundays, Saturdays and Sundays. Not if I'm out of town, Roger do it, but we try to check it every day because of that. So, you know.
Yeah. People's habits are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, especially when it's their pocketbook. Yeah. Yeah, we're creatures. So for trucks, we have a 2012 Freightliner, which is in poor condition, and that is a cable truck. And then we have a 2020 Kenworth that's in great condition. We have over 500,000 miles of safe driving between Roger Carlson and myself. That's in Emmett County and Cheboygan County. And so I mean, I believe the program worked well, and we try to do a good job and represent everybody in this county equally. So that's important, I think. So, and then, like I said, I also supervise the fairgrounds and all the events except fair, and maintain that grounds with a small group of people also. And if there's any questions on the fairgrounds, I'd be glad to answer anything that you
Keep it on recycling.
Right.
Anything else?
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to know if in fact we were going to, or thinking about increasing the rates, what point would we do that? And perhaps you could explain, or Jeff could explain the process for that. So it has never been raised, and we're going in the hole here, so with inflation, everything else goes up.
Yeah, that'll be a topic on the strategic planning, so.
We get a snapshot in the past there. Our program was set up under a state act that allows the county to have households who up to $25. So for many years, it was actually slightly less than 25. Now we're up to the cap. And as we've talked about in last several budget cycles there, uh, the amount for our capital needs forward. You have a very lean staff as far as operation or capital costs are increasing the vehicles and also the roll-off containers. So it's time to have that discussion on what time you'll be to ask. They have to go for the vote of the people to go higher than $25, and then there's also other types of funding mechanisms that may be discussed during the material management discussion for long term there. But it's more broader types of funding operations that maybe more than what we need right now.
Maybe getting time for someone to pick those things up all the time.
Okay.
But yeah, the program's still on the good side, but with this next vehicle purchase, there's not enough in the fund. They'll have to pay back general fund for a loan there, and so it's been a pretty good track record since 2007, 2008, be able to hold on at that dollar amount till today. So too many programs can last that long on such a fixed fee.
Anything else for Dan?
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time and
Keep up the
everybody have a
good
great
work,
week.
man.
Appreciate it.
We're down to item 7, administrator's report.
So much more to add there today. You have window going in the circuit court. So you hear the trucks going on out there. That should be wrapped up today. So, other than that, we'd like to again recognize Dan and his staff there for all their hard work. No, personally, Dan, on the tire pickup day, got the work out of his probably life on trying to load 2 semis. So, I want to make sure he gets recognized for that program. We put that together with the region, but he not only did that, but loaded the trucks pretty much by himself with a little bit of help. But
Yeah, I learned.
I
was getting muscle bound.
So,
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
we have another possibility this year to have another tire pickup with the region, and I believe they're working on some electronics, so grant too that we be partnership with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Administrator?
So that's it. Yeah, they did.
Answer no business, let's move on to new business. 2025 week equalization, we have Elizabeth with us. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm well, how are you?
Good.
Good morning.
Morning.
Chairperson and the commissioners, welcome. Equalization report is required to be adopted annually by the Board of Commissioners. The Equalization Department conducts an independent appraisal and sales studies each year and projects assessed values for each township and city. Each township or city is required by law to assess at an acceptable ratio between 49% and 50% of true cash value. The County Board of Commissioners has the authority to do General Property Tax Act 2-factor assessments up or down to make sure the assessments fall within the accepted ratios. As you can see, all the ratios fall within the acceptable range in all classes of property in each local unit. Therefore, I am recommending the assessed values be adopted as presented. The report consists of columnar figures and charts showing the assessed values from the individual townships and city, the county equalized values, the ratio for each class of property by unit, and each local unit's L4022 report of assessment rule changes and classification as reported to the state of Michigan following the 2025 March Board of Review. Also included for informational purposes only is a district valuation map of the real parcels. And then on page 1 of the report, I hereby submit the 2025 equalization report showing the assessed values from individual townships and city, the county equalized values, and the ratios for each class of property by unit. This recommends the adoption of the following equalized values for 2025. The county equalized value of real property $3,236,807,358. County equalized value of personal property, $102,839,596. And a total county equalized value of $3,339,646,954. This represents an 11.49% increase in equalized value overall compared to the 2024 values. All county equalized values are subject to review and change by the state of Michigan through state equalization, which will occur in May of 2025. And if you have any questions?
My question is, can the state just jump in there and bump it up?
No, the only reason that they would jump in is if they find something was not done correctly and something fell out of the 49 to 50% range, then they would have to factor the roll to make that class come back into the 49 to 50% ratio.
Thanks.
Question, just and you might not be able to determine this, but on the variance between like industrial and commercial, the commercial went up 13.96. Is that increased in value, or do we have is there new stuff in that? I mean, you probably can.
Well, actually, if you go to, you have to look at each individual township's L 4022s, which are at the end of your report, and you can see, I don't need to turn my book here. If you go through the reports, the second from the right column shows the new. The far right column is the total for the new year, the 2025. The column to the left of that is any of the new values that are coming in. So the second line down is the commercial. So you could actually look by township and that side chain. Yeah. You're welcome. I don't have a general. We would actually have to look at.
Sure. Well, that's it. But there is some new,
Yeah.
there is some new as well as increased value.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, just to point out on the assessment report there, and your staff for all that work, and let's put the assessors. When we see these values, this gives a 10-year history. When we look at this year, 11.49%, it's also capped under headland truth and taxation. So what that would mean this year is whatever the inflation rate is actually what the value of property will go up under those two. So sometimes we get questions on that. We see the increase. That's not a direct one-to-one for tax base for any under headland truth and taxation. The only time you see readjustments are mainly when property is sold between taxable value and SEV. That number will balance out after that. If there's another way.
Well, this is the assessed value only. The taxable value went up by 5.63%. So the assessment taxable, they don't go up at the same rate. Taxable can only go up by the rate of inflation. So you'll see taxable values when a property is sold in a prior year, taxable value will come uncapped up to the next SEV the year following that sale. So the ones that aren't increasing by the rate of inflation then are coming uncapped for that the assessed values. So you'll have two different things. You have the assessed value that increased by that 11.49%, which are based on sales. And then the taxable value increases by the rate of inflation each year. So there's two different calculations that are happening at that point. And the taxable values are reflecting taxes.
I think that's represented on page 9 if you close that.
Page 5 actually shows. Yeah. Number page 5 up there. That's the taxable value percentage increase. And then on page 9 actually shows the two values assessed and the taxable. Yes, you're right.
Which your budget board is looking at the business right on this motion to approve, please. Support? Oh, thank you, Jesse. Moved and supported. Any further discussion? John,
Commissioner Sangster,
Yes.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Eustace,
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace,
Yeah.
Commissioner Osmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Claremont.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion's approved 6-0 and one absent. Thank you.
Can I just make a comment?
Sure.
Being involved with the equalization report, as an assessor, and I was in the equalization department at one time in the city. This is a very time consuming, data detailed report. It's just not an easy thing to do. And I want to thank Liz for some of this report and the professionalism of how this report is being handled. I appreciate it. It's very easy to understand. And I certainly like the colored bar graphs and the pie charts as we get older and understand those more. I can't read. So thanks, Liz. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. We're down to 9B, Michigan Economic Development Corporation grant. It's live on your iPad.
Last week, Jeremy and I listened to a Zoom thing through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, where they're offering grant funding for the 12 counties impacted by the recent ice storm through federal CDBG funds. The grants are $72,000 per county for the purpose of purchasing 30 generators to place in 5 to 6 communities with the highest need. And it would be a pass-through grant to the county. And they indicated they wanted to push this through as fast as they can, probably this week, but they have not sent us any details on it. And so Jeremy and I are requesting that the board authorize it if, once we get the information, we go through it and we don't feel there's something negative that the county wouldn't. From my understanding, it's just a grant. There's no match or anything from the county.
No tracks from the state?
Yes, exactly. So, but we're afraid that they're going to say, well, you have to sign on to this week, and we don't meet again until May. And so they had said they were going to be sending the information out. When I talked to Jeremy yesterday, we still had nothing. So my recommendation is to authorize staff to apply for the special MEDC emergency grant funds in the amount of $72,000. Authorize the chair to sign or the administrator or finance director to sign it if electronically, if awarded, since I don't have any idea how they're going to do this grant. And authorize the finance director to prepare any necessary budget adjustments with the caveat that we will decline it if we don't feel that it's appropriate.
Great.
Well, Sue and Jeremy have a great track record. If you go over to the fairgrounds and look at the equipment they've received through grants in the past, I think this is a no-brainer. I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jim. Support?
I'll support it.
Thank you, Rick.
Just one question though, what would be the I guess, like if there was, you must have to operate or something type.
I don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like it, but
But I mean, those would be
see-
the kind of like you're
Yeah.
saying, the long run, if you have to have training programs and all these things are afterward or something that, because we've seen that, as you know, in the past. So.
Sometimes they'll
It's
change it and
CPT
say
and
we got
they-
matching.
Okay.
they get me a little nervous to get ET, so
Okay.
like I said, if we don't feel comfortable doing it,
And I trust you.
we're not going to do it. But it right now sounds like a good deal. But
I still make that.
Always sounds like we need to get it.
Well, I trust. Comes to that.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Eustace,
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace.
Yes.
Commissioner Osmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sangster.
Yes.
Commissioner Claremont.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Madam Clerk, is carried 6-0 and one absent. We're down to 9C, Indigenous Events Alliance Brandon Green, 56-39.
this is an annual application request for the Office of the Sign Council through the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission, and the amount requested is a little over 1.3 million. The county only contributes about 145,000 based on, I believe, 2018 numbers that we had prior to all of these changes at the state. So no matter how big that end number gets, the state picks up anything over the 145,000 first dollar that this county pays. This is about 450,000 over the prior year, and the reason for that is because of the shortage in finding attorneys. MIDC has created like a special council that works on getting, counties, available defense from all over the state, so we can tap into that. Amber has used that extensively, and the grant right now is funded because it's not its own indigent defense. It's funded through Mecosta County, and Mecosta County doesn't use it at all. So our regional manager has requested that we run it through us. And from my understanding, it's only, they handle everything. We just submit the quarterly reports within our report. So it doesn't sound like it's a lot of work. The advantage for the county doing is we get 10% indirects on it. So it's 369,000. So the county would take back 36,000 in our own. So right now we're like, we don't know why we wouldn't want to do it. Hopefully if we do this, we don't go, no, this is why we don't want to do it. So that's why it's increased a lot more than it was in the prior year. So the motion is to approve the Cheboygan County fiscal year 25 Indian Defense Compliance Plan grant application to be submitted to the Michigan Indian Defense Commission. Authorize the management sign council to sign and submit electronically, allow finance director to accept the award once awarded, and authorize the finance director to make any necessary budget adjustments. And that finance director, on behalf of the chair, I should add that because it's electronic. Does anyone have any questions?
Obviously, I do, just because of the amount of the cost of this. Again, I know we're gonna probably do this, but we've gone from how much in just several years, just for the public.
Yes.
It's getting costly, and I just wonder if they do any audits to see how many dollars per hour, are they actually spending in front of their clients?
We actually had an audit desk review or whatever last year that came down. I haven't heard the results of it. Because I heard
I'm not
they ran
necessarily
into-
saying us, but I'm
No,
talking statewide.
I
We're
heard they had
talking
problems
millions of
with
dollars.
you, and that's.
Well, I had heard that. That's what I wondered.
Yeah.
Story on it.
Just a comment, I think you're spot on, Commissioner Sangster. This thing is just growing unbelievably over the last 100 years. The good guys are the bad guys, and the bad guys are the good guys. This is just incredible, the amount of money. And once again, I'm not anything against this, but another comment is, this is another task that Sue is taking on. She says she doesn't think it'll be much, but once again, she's willing to go above and beyond. So thanks.
I will add it with indirects for bringing the Mandesign Council into the county, and because now they'll allow us indirects on that, the indirects potentially are up to $60,000. So it's approximately 50% back of what we're obligated to pay.
So this is voted by the state. It's programmed.
Yes.
Well, you can't get that, but it just seems to be growing and growing. And I've said it from the very beginning because it started only at like 90 some thousand.
They can go in the law library, go online, they have a good time.
Yeah.
Become lawyers, while they're in jail.
Yeah. With that, Mr. Chair, I will make the motion to approve the Cheboygan County FYI 25 Indigenous Defense Compliance Plan and grant application as submitted.
Thank you, Rich. I'll support it. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Claremont,
Yes.
Commissioner Eustace,
Yes.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Osmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace,
Yes.
Commissioner Sangster,
Yes.
Carried 6-0 and 1 absent. Excuse me. We're down to the added bit to the agenda 9B, the dog park improvements on your desk.
For our dog park project bid, just to review as far as the funding, we had a grant from state of Michigan to fundraising. The public raised $40,000 for the project, and it was matched by $40,000 from the state under the program. We did notice else in the paper and the plan rooms. We received 7 bids back. The low bid was Central Defense Company, a West Onsite help with an amount of $42,156.41. So our recommendation is to award and approve the agreement for the dog park fence installation, $42,156 $0.41 to Century Fence Company. Authorize the administrator to sign agreement and authorize any necessary budget adjustments. The agreement for this will be the county's small project agreement form that we use. So it's developed by our attorney and we use it for projects under 50,000. And like to get this moving because of fencing costs. We want to get that back to them and provide security the fence ordering in case prices change.
Since we had several,
7 days. And they range all the way from this is the low bid all the way up high to highest was 86,000, which isn't necessarily unusual. We had a cluster of bids in the 40,000 range and a couple closer to the 70,000 range, and then one high bid. So
just imagine they're coming from Green Gate or
yeah, neighbor to the west. That's where their company is based. They're in multiple states, so I don't know where the crews live, but they do work and they can do that. So.
Is this roughly an amount that you thought was
It's in the range.
it's in the range of what you anticipated?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion to award the approved agreement, Cheboygan County Dog Park Fence Installation to Century Fence Company and authorize the administrator to sign.
Thank you, Rich. Support?
I'll support.
Thank you, Mike. Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Wallace,
Yes.
Commissioner Claremont,
Yes.
Commissioner Eustace,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Spencer.
Yes.
Thank you, board. Carried 6-0, no answer. Board matters for discussion.
Just that they had addressed, when we talked about state parks and stuff, they are moving forward on that. I thought, I talked last Thursday that it might be, but they seem to be moving forward and they put the objectives on the parks. So put a point on its own back burner. So I feel confident they're working hard at it. Yes.
Yeah, somebody was telling me this morning, John Moore, that they're working on the cornwall putting. That's good.
Yes.
Just a question back to the dog park. We have the funds that we raised when we got the grant. How would that work as far as what you anticipate the other costs to be? Does the grant apply first and then the donations, or how does that?
No, all funds have to be
Equally, yeah, I figured that part there, but
yeah, we don't use everything in the first phase, so to speak, then we have other projects, but we still have trees, landscaping, benches, there may be shade. I wouldn't call it a expensive shade structure. It's a possibility. Also signage for the park. So between all those, we will close that gap in. If there's money left over, then we'll work with the committee to see what else can be placed in there. Thank you.
Any other board matters to discussion?
The generator, that generator grant fund, and should that be applied to our generator here?
No, they're actually, and that may be one of the issues that was question was asked is they have like a 15,000 watt like plug and play generator. They're going to work with, I believe, Home Depot to mass, so everybody gets the 30 of the speed. Because some of the questions were, could we go with a little bit larger one because we want to maybe use it at a gas station and they don't want it to have electrical installed, they want it like a plug and play kind of a thing. So it's varies. They want to keep it in the $2,000 range per one. So it's kind of specific. Because we talked about that too. Jeremy said it'd be nice to have maybe a bigger one that we could get to a gas station.
Yeah,
because I know that was a big need.
I don't think people are going to realize that till it happens. Like it did again.
They learned a lot from this one.
Yeah. And then that cornwall thing, is that where that oil spill was around that area, or is that for?
I don't know what.
No,
Let's
it's
know that there's a few oil wells in the southeast corner of Cheboygan. They're,
But is
they
that,
had a little spill with the mixture of brine and oil.
was that coming out of the Cornwall area there? You think? I remember you saying once that they make a lot of money off of that. Cornwall, the DNR goes off of that. The oil that they get out of it.
That's the southeast corner of this
Yeah.
county. There is a, believe me, I've studied this one. There is a dome that goes through the state of Michigan like this of salt. And the salt dome presses down on the old vegetation, and that's where the oil and gas develop. So all through the state, along the rim of that salt dome, goes out into Lake Michigan, out into Lake Erie, and comes back. It's an oval. And that's where the gas and oil is.
Since you're discussing that, just kudos again to Lieutenant Runstrom, to Jeremy. He was all over that oil spill, very involved. He updated the board. And just kudos to him and pulled them again.
Yeah, I think this bill is less than an acre, so they got it covered. They can dig, they'll dig soil up, put it somewhere else, some other county maybe. Anyways, that's. Any other board member comment? How about citizen comment? Wow. Thank you, Louis. How about a motion to adjourn the call of the chair?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.